absolutely important to me.
It's important,
Yeah, that they're all doing the same thing, so that they're all on the same, basically on the same page of the book. I think it's great. I think it's been a long time coming, and it's very comprehensive.
Well, it covers everything from, you know, family vacations and, you know, what the policy is and on a team-by-team basis and what the coaches can do and what they can't do, tryouts, dress codes, busing to and from events, just about every, you know, getting cut from a team, how that has to happen. So the parents and the coaches
That's the
now,
parents.
but especially the parents
Yeah.
now have something that they can refer to, and hopefully it'll solve a lot of the issues that maybe weren't solved in the past because there wasn't anything that they could pick up and look at.
Right.
And I think that's the best thing that we have with this.
I believe, we'll have hard copies available, but I'm assuming this will probably be on the, North Reading High School website, so, people can jot through it.
I think it's a real tool for the parents too, because, my observations were that a lot of parents who are being introduced to high school athletics for the first time don't have a lot of this information. And, things like, kids going on vacation or having other activities during seasons when they should be at practice or at games or whatever, they're not even aware of it. It doesn't even occur to them sometimes.
Right. And I think it's important they realize that, North Reading High School is part of the league, which is part of the state association, so there's different rules that we have to abide by. And hopefully this is a source of information.
And it'll get, especially the parents, as Jerry said, the freshmen coming in, the whole summer issue. Your kid wants to play a sport, a freshman, and they get a call saying there's going to be a captain's practice, and the parents are like, what's a captain's practice? I don't know what that is. And it's all here now. You know what a captain's practice is. You know why they happen. You know that the school isn't officially involved. You know the league isn't involved, and it gives you all the details. And I just reading through it, I just thought it was extremely comprehensive. Any other questions or comments?
No, what the codification makes it much easier for coaches as well. They're not put in a position where they look like they're being arbitrary
Right.
in the book.
Exactly. I think Maureen found maybe one spelling error she'll pass along.
I'll give it to
Just
Jane.
one?
She's filling in for Mr. Jerby this week on finding the spelling mistakes.
I
and,
hate to say it, but I actually found one
Did you
too.
find one too?
I've never
I
done
wonder
that
if it's the
before.
same one.
But whatever we find, we'll just pass along to David and before you
Because
print
we're
them.
probably reading the same
This is just in the
section.
memory of Steve Jervy. I don't know, I'll locate it, but it.
We'll just pass those along so before you have them
Great
printed.
job, Dave. Thank you to
Yeah.
you and all the coaches for this.
So we don't
Thank
need an
you.
official vote to approve this, but I think we should take a vote to endorse
Endorse it?
the new North Reading High School Athletic Department handbook. So could I have a motion?
I'll move that we endorse.
Motion by Mr. Bowers?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Baca. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Dave.
much.
And good luck in the tournaments.
Did we get our seatings today?
Yeah, baseball is seeded #1. They're gonna play the winner of Greater Lowell Swampscott
Wow.
on Saturday at
Here?
2 o'clock home.
Okay.
Softball got the #4 seed, and they're playing the winner of Trinity Catholic Greater Lowell at 4 o'clock here on Saturday.
So
4
two
o'clock
games?
Saturday, huh?
2 games on Saturday,
What are the times again?
2 and 4.
Nice.
And boys tennis is seeded
Oh,
tomorrow.
that's right, boys tennis. That's right. Great.
Yeah,
Great.
Good, thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Do you keep all the user meetings?
Yeah, actually, Dave,
Yeah.
we're gonna, before we bring up Mr. Bernard and the high school council, we actually have on the agenda tonight approval of the new athletic user fees for 2008, 2009. The athletic subcommittee has recommended that, the bottom line is we have to raise $35,000 to meet our budget for 2008, 2009. So what the school committee agreed on earlier was to increase athletic fees by $100. What we didn't talk about or agree on was how we were going to implement that increase. The athletic subcommittee has recommended we increase the initial fee from $300 to $400, leave the fees for the next two sports at $100 each, and leave the family cap at $1,000. I know there are some concerns, and so I wanted you to sit in and hear the concerns. And I know Mrs. Baca had some concerns with our proposal.
I do. I would like to see the increase spread out over the 3 sports, and even a consideration to raise the family cap instead of increasing just the first sport alone. I feel that if we do that, then the kids that play just one sport are the kids that are carrying that, that burden, that budget. And it's almost as if the kids that are playing a second and third, they're playing more, but they're not paying any more for those additional sports. So I'm sure it's a real complicated formula to figure out percentages and how to raise $35,000 over that three-tiered spectrum. But I think that just expecting the increase to be carried by the first sport participant solely is just not the most equitable way of raising the fees.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I was.
Something we came up, we talked about it at the athletic subcommittee.
Right.
And it seemed to be, the one-sport athletes are the smallest group. Most of our kids are two-sport athletes. I think we probably have more three-sport athletes than one-sport athletes, to be honest with you. So, I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, we can work the formula any way you'd like. It's just a matter of how you generate that kind of income.
If that's the case, if the one sport athlete is the exception to the rule in the smallest group, then we probably could raise the 35,000 if we didn't tack the entire 100 on the. If you have more
Right.
kids playing 2 and 3 sports, then you're probably going to pick up that extra.
But playing two, they were playing one, and what's
Right, so
the-
it's accumulation.
It is accumulation. The $100 is not just for those playing the one sport, it's for any
Everybody,
student
right.
in their first sport, whether they're 1, 2, or 3.
Right,
So ultimately, any student playing athletics, either 1, 2, or 3, is going to get the $100 increase. That was really the discussion.
for the first sport, right.
Whenever that
So they
is.
don't pay it for that first sport.
Whenever that is.
Right.
First
Some
time.
kids are playing just one, and they'll pay the whole 100 and not play another sport.
And I think part of our, as I go back over our discussion at the athletic subcommittee, was in fact to encourage students
Yeah.
to participate in athletics.
Yeah, but until we put more teams in place, there's only, varsity and JV, and there are already kids being cut, so you're not gonna raise any additional money, you're just gonna have more kids cut. They're not increasing the number of slots on the teams.
Well, we are starting the freshman levels
Right.
in boys and girls soccer and the third level in volleyball. We have freshman sports in softball, baseball, and the 2 basketballs. All the running sports, track, fall, winter, and spring, wrestling, and swimming are not really no-cut programs. There's very few programs that we're cutting for right now, and I think even next year, you might not make the varsity soccer team, but you'll make the JV team. I think all of our coaches are very sympathetic to the seniors that have been around for 3 years, trying to hold on to them as many as you can. Obviously, probably the one sport that really has a tough time with cutting is a sport like a basketball. It just has a very limited roster. Where you're only taking 12 to 15 kids.
Even football incorporates all of freshmen.
Football is, anybody can be part of it, and, hockey a little bit too. The MIA allows you to dress 22 players.
But we have a JV team.
But we have a JV team for that also. I think even with the tennis programs, we took big squads this year. I think each one had 16 or 17 kids on it. I actually think the girls might have had 18 or 19, but because of the number of courts we have and the number of courts that a lot of programs have, getting buses to the games, we were able to play a lot of JV matches, and both the boys and girls tennis coaches did a good job with that.
And yet, the other thing that I see, and all of it's distasteful, I wish we didn't have to charge for athletics at all. But I think when we put a family cap, what the intent is something similar to, a family should support 2 of their student athletes, and maybe their 3rd or 4th child is waived with the family cap. So when we're increasing the cost of 1 and 2 athletes, we should be adjusting the family cap, because it's not supporting 2 students playing each season.
Yeah, actually, that's one, I thought the family cap was 900. If it had been 1,000, I think we need to increase the family cap by $100 also.
It should slide so that the first two, or, you know, I'm going back to when we implemented the whole program, and the idea of the family cap was so that families were supporting the two students, and maybe if they had 3 or 4 or even 5 kids in high school, they were capped. So that, if that's still the premise, then that needs to slide as well, so.
Yeah, if you want to do it that way, we'd have to increase it to 1,200 because 600 for each student would increase it
If
to
we were doing
1,200.
it for
Right.
1-on-1, yeah.
I could split the
You do
difference
whatever you
there.
like.
Yeah.
You wanna move to, you wanna do that?
We have to vote on it, but I mean, Jerry, you have any specific comments?
Well, again, the family cap to me is, you know, I understand the reason for it is to give some relief to families, but bottom line is, the participation, they're taking up a spot just like every other kid.
Right.
And I'm not unsympathetic to somebody that has 3 or more kids in the program, but
Right.
I think that they need to pay to play. And the family cap really is arbitrary. It doesn't take into consideration the family's ability to pay.
Right.
You could have a family with 1 child that can't pay, and a family with 4 that could pay without even
Exactly.
thinking twice about it. So I'd rather move closer to a situation where everyone's paying their own. I don't have a problem with a cap, but I think it should be, you know, increased if we're gonna increase the fees.
Yes, I.
So. And as far as the 400, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I understand what Maureen's saying. I wouldn't have a big objection to spreading it out over the 3 sports either, but, you know, the 400's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with the 400 too. Same thing, I could live, as Maureen says, it's all distasteful, we have to do it. We're lucky we're not in a position where other school districts right now where they're charging the full freight for their entire sports programs like Hamilton, Wenham, and others. So, you know, we're still kind of betwixt and between here, although if we keep raising the fees, we're gonna be getting close to that point anyway, with pay-as-you-go. Any other comments, David, any other recommendations? Other than the,
Do you want to just consider the family cap? Because it sounds like everyone's okay with the increase in the first floor.
yeah,
What is the family cap right now?
it's 1,000.
It's 1,000?
I believe you do need to take a vote on, because this would become the official user fee that we'll publish and get out. So if there's a change, and you have a practice of changing tuitions and bus fees and so forth. Again, I'm not sure how we would calculate out. This is risky even with what we're doing and
Yeah.
proposing. We have a target in the budget of generating the 35,000, and at the same time, I think we've made a commitment to that additional sports, which
Mhm.
I anticipate will approach over 20,000 to run those additional 3 freshman sports. And the increase in participation from those students, it's not likely to outweigh anything that you get with their increase in user fees, so.
You know, I think it's kind of like the awkward position that the Board of Selectmen find themselves in with the trash fees. They were implemented user fees and trash fees out of necessity. And all along, we were hoping they could go away when in fact they're actually increasing.
Right.
So it might be a good time, you know, throughout the upcoming year for our group, the athletic subcommittee, to think of a way to just, you know, they're here to stay. They should be raised incrementally each year as the cost of running the programs are raised. And here's a tiered system that will implement when we have increases. Maybe if you think about it in advance, you can study the trend in the year and put some kind of, you know, time to really only use the fee and the fact that it should go up as the cost of the program goes up each year.
Dave, when's the last time we increased the athletic fees? I was trying to
It was
remember.
2 years ago.
2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. So what, we were at 250 then for the
I
first
believe so,
sport?
yeah.
And it's kind of knee-jerk, we need 35,000, it's not really reflective of any incremental cost increase in any specific area of the program, so.
Well, I do think we have set a goal to have, at least have the fees cover 50% of athletics, and I think I saw that starting to fall back a little
Right.
bit this past year. You're right, the
Yeah.
35,000 number is kind of arbitrary based on this is what we need to hit to get to our budget for 2008, 2009. So it probably is something that we should review on an annual basis at the athletic subcommittee, and determine, you know,